The internet exploded this weekend, and not for some ordinary beef. Nope, this one cut deep. Have you ever seen a grown man, a billionaire mogul, completely break down over a clip? Well, buckle up, because 50 Cent just did the unthinkable. And it wasn't over money, albums, or even a Versus challenge. It was about something much darker, much more personal. His mother. It all started when King Harris, yes, T.I. and Tiny's 21-year-old son, decided to go full throttle on Instagram, dragging 50 Cent into a fight that nobody saw coming. And when I say drag, I mean he went for the jugular. Picture this, a young rapper, no chill, posting disrespectful clips, questioning the man who built an empire on fear, memes, and pure chaos. And then he mentions Sabrina Jackson, 50 Cent's late mother. That's right. The woman who was brutally taken from him at just 8 years old. Now, if you think social media trolling has limits, think again. So, what did 50 do? Did he explode on Instagram Live? Drop a diss track? Threaten legal action? Not exactly. The man who made trolling an art form responded in a way only 50 Cent can, with heartbreak, restraint, and yes, just a hint of shock that still sent chills across the internet. But what King Harris did has set off a chain reaction that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming. And today, we're breaking it all down. Every meme, every post, and every raw, unfiltered reaction. The scandal starts with a clip, a single, disrespectful clip, and suddenly, the world of hip-hop is spinning like a storm that nobody saw coming. King Harris, the eldest son of T.Y. and Tiny, decided to take his frustrations public in a way that was calculated, brutal, and shockingly personal. We've all seen celebrities get dragged on social media, sure, but rarely do you see someone go for the one nerve that cuts straight through a man's history, a wound so raw that it has shaped his entire life. That nerve? 50 Cent's mother, Sabrina Jackson. If you think you know 50, if you think you've seen him react to every troll, meme, and social media jab, think again. This was a different level. A direct hit at the one thing he has never been able to fully process, never fully talk about, and certainly never joke about. To understand why this clip hit so hard, you have to rewind decades. Curtis Jackson didn't grow up with a silver spoon or a smooth path paved for success. Born to Sabrina Jackson when she was just 15, and he came into a world that demanded survival skills from day one. Queens, New York, at the height of the crack epidemic, was not forgiving, and his mother was already embedded in the dangerous, high-stakes life of the streets. She was tough, ambitious, and fiercely independent, running her own operation to provide for her son. And yet, despite her strength, tragedy struck. In 1983, when Curtis was just 8 years old, Sabrina Jackson was murdered in what authorities would later call a suspected homicide. Someone allegedly drugged her, left her unconscious, and turned on the gas in her apartment. No one was ever charged, no justice was ever served, and the world of young Curtis Jackson shifted forever. That loss didn't just leave a hole in his life. It rewrote the path he would take, the man he would become, and the persona he would craft. A persona of toughness, invincibility, and a trolling genius who rarely shows vulnerability. Fast forward to February of this year, and decades later, King Harris decides to poke that bear. Why? Because 50 Cent posted a picture of Tiny Harris, mocking her appearance, in the midst of an already tense back and forth with T.I. This wasn't just a casual joke. This was the classic 50 Cent trolling technique. Pick someone's loved one, post an unflattering photo, stir chaos, sit back, and let the internet react. For most people, that would be annoying or even hurtful. But for a man like King Harris, who has grown up in the glare of reality TV cameras, watching his family's every move dissected online, it was unacceptable. And so, he responded. But he didn't respond with a simple clap back. He escalated, and he went directly after 50 Cent's mother, posting her tombstone, challenging the rapper to dig up your mother and post a picture, and telling him to leave Tiny out of it. The audacity, the sheer boldness of that move made headlines instantly. The internet erupted. Clips of 50 Cent crying during interviews about his mother resurfaced. Videos of him telling Oprah that he never understood what it meant for his mother not to come home went viral again. People were shocked. Some laughed nervously at the drama, some gasped in disbelief, and others scrolled, unable to look away. This isn't just about King Harris versus 50 Cent anymore. This is generational, this is personal, and it's a masterclass in escalation. 50 Cent's life has been defined by adversity, by surviving in a world that didn't forgive mistakes, and by being tough when every cell in your body is screaming vulnerability. And now, a 21-year-old born into a world of privilege and cameras decides to cross the ultimate line, poking at the rawest wound imaginable. The audacity is staggering, and the reaction is instant. Memes explode, comment sections catch fire, and the drama spreads faster than any album drop. Social media doesn't just report it, it consumes it, devours it, and reinterprets it for maximum engagement. Suddenly, every hip-hop fan, every gossip follower, every casual scroller has an opinion, and nobody is quiet. And yet 50 Cent responds in a way only he can. No long rant, no fiery video, no Instagram live screaming at the kid. He posts a meme of Pepe the Frog and captions it with a single understated LOL. That's it. 3 letters, a frog, and then the entire internet loses its mind trying to decipher the meaning. Was he hurt? Was he mocking? Was he pretending nothing happened? That LOL says everything and nothing at once. It's a psychological masterstroke, a trolling move that feeds the fire while simultaneously refusing to give the challenger the satisfaction of seeing him crumble. And in that calculated simplicity lies the drama. People watch, dissect, and replay it, trying to understand the mind of a man who built an empire on public perception, social media warfare, and relentless control. But let's not forget the history that got us here. 50 Cent and T.I. have been circling each other in hip-hop drama for years. There was the Versus discussion, the public tension over who would step into the ring, the agreements allegedly broken, and then the subtle digs that slowly escalated. 50 Cent's trolling has always been methodical, almost surgical, but King Harris wasn't playing the same game. He went straight to the heart of the matter, and the heart of the matter isn't albums, isn't business, isn't street cred. It's grief, loss, and the memory of a mother he never got justice for. That's why the internet reaction was explosive. Comments ranged from too far to finally someone hitting him where it hurts. And conspiracy theories started swirling about whether 50 Cent would retaliate with words, music, or social media warfare. Every clip of King Harris's rant was dissected, slowed down, and analyzed frame by frame. Every angle was covered, every inflection discussed. Every glance and gesture turned into proof that this feud had just entered a whole new tier of personal stakes. As the storm intensified, fans started piecing together every interview 50 Cent ever gave about his mother. They found the Oprah interview where he struggled to accept her death. They dug up the Larry King segment where he admitted he never processed the grief properly. They watched as the pieces of his childhood trauma, once private, were dragged across social media by a kid barely out of college. And the debate ignited. Was King Harris out of line? Was 50 Cent playing a psychological game that only he could control? Was this feud about respect, trolling, or crossing the ultimate boundary? Hip-hop communities were split. Forums lit up with heated debates. Clips went viral. Every news outlet, every influencer, and every fan had something to say. And that, right there, is the perfect storm for internet chaos. Meanwhile, the subtler details of the feud, The comments, the deleted stories, the private DMs leaking through insiders started to surface. "He's playing with fire," said one anonymous source claiming to be close to the Harris family. "He doesn't realize what he's touching. This isn't just 50 Cent trolling. This is a man whose whole childhood was defined by that loss." Another insider added, "King Harris may think he's making a point, but he just opened a door that can't be closed. The social media backlash, the memes, the editorials, it's a perfect storm." Meanwhile, screenshots of 50 Cent quietly watching the chaos circulate began to surface online, showing a man unshaken, eyes fixed, calculating the next move. And it was classic 50 Cent, calm on the surface, nuclear underneath. Fans who have followed his career know this is the 50 Cent who survived gunshots, bankruptcy, betrayals, and betrayal-themed diss tracks. And yet the difference here is that the weapon is emotional, not physical, and the target is painfully personal. At the same time, King Harris was not backing down. He doubled down, posting not just a video rant, but images of the tombstone, looping in commentary about family respect, and even weaving in jabs at 50 Cent's children, old footage, and court appearances. The posts weren't just reactive, they were strategic, public, and meticulously calculated to make waves. Every post was dissected for tone, intent, and potential fallout. The narrative wasn't just about disrespect, and it was about challenging a man whose career was built on controlling the narrative. And the drama didn't just stay online. Influencers, podcasters, and commentators picked it up, adding their own layers of analysis, exaggeration, and satire. Clips of the feud, slowed down, played with commentary, and remixed into memes spread across platforms. Every angle, every reaction, every troll attempt became content fodder. And as this all unfolded, 50 Cent's response strategy became apparent. Minimal words, maximum impact, meme posted, LOL. Social media exploded, clips of King's rant shared, public scrutiny intensified. Interviews from years ago resurfaced. Analysts, fans, and armchair psychologists debated the emotional consequences. But through it all, 50 Cent maintained that iconic combination of calm authority, trolling expertise, and then just enough vulnerability to remind the world that the wound he carries is real and it's deep. As the storm raged on social media, it became clear that this wasn't just another celebrity spat. This was a full-blown generational clash, and the internet had a front-row seat. King Harris wasn't just making noise, he was rewriting the playbook on how to escalate a feud. Instagram stories weren't enough, so he went deep. Videos, tombstone photos, commentary about family respect, and jabs that intertwined 50 Cent's past legal troubles with his personal grief. Every post was dissected by fans, reporters, and meme accounts, turning the feud into a viral spectacle. But what's fascinating here is how quickly the narrative morphed. It wasn't just King versus 50 Cent anymore. It became a commentary on legacy, grief, and what happens when you cross boundaries most people wouldn't dare touch. Anonymous insiders started leaking details that seemed ripped from a Hollywood script. King knew exactly what he was doing, one source claimed. He didn't just want to embarrass 50 Cent, he wanted the world to see him falter. And everyone knows that 50 Cent has never truly gotten over his mother's death. This isn't speculation, it's history. Another source added, "It's like he was lighting a fuse on a powder keg. 50 Cent is brilliant at trolling, but this is the one thing even he can't fully armor himself against emotionally. And King Harris? He hit the target dead center." Suddenly, Twitter threads were exploding, YouTube clips were racking up millions of views, and fans were scrambling to understand who had crossed the line. And was King Harris being disrespectful? Absolutely. But was it effective? Without a doubt. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's approach to the feud was textbook, calm, calculated, and relentlessly controlled. He didn't scream back. He didn't post hours of video commentary. He dropped a Pepe the Frog meme with a simple LOL, and the internet collectively lost it. Some people interpreted it as dismissive. Others saw it as cold, strategic genius. "He's laughing on the outside, calculating on the inside," one commentator said. "This is 50 Cent. He's letting the chaos build while he sits back, watches, and waits." Fans scrolled through every old interview, every clip of him talking about his mother, trying to read between the lines. The emotional weight of the feud had suddenly shifted. It wasn't about trolling anymore. It wasn't about memes. It was about trauma and personal history. The public reactions were as intense as the feud itself. Memes flooded the timeline, ranging from sarcastic takes on 50 Cent's iconic trolling methods to brutally honest commentary on the emotional stakes involved. "King Harris just went nuclear," one fan tweeted. "He literally went to the part of 50 Cent's life that nobody touches. That's either genius or insanity." Reaction videos started trending, with creators analyzing every frame of King's clip, pausing on inflection points, tone, and even the angle of the camera. Podcasts broke down the feud like it was a congressional hearing, speculating about intentions, consequences, and what this meant for the legacies of both families. And then came the conspiracy theories. Was King Harris being guided by someone behind the scenes? Was this part of a larger strategy to provoke 50 Cent into a misstep? The speculation only added fuel to the fire. Leaked reports began circulating, completely unverified, but shared widely enough to seem credible. According to an anonymous source claiming to have insight into the Harris family's strategy, King has been watching 50 Cent for years. He knows the man's history, his triggers, and how to push buttons without losing control himself. This wasn't impulsive. This was calculated psychological warfare. Another fake insider claimed, "The grave photos? That was intentional. It's symbolic. It's about taking control of a narrative that 50 Cent has dominated for decades." Fans loved it. Haters hated it. The debate escalated to a point where even pop culture outlets couldn't ignore it. And headlines like 50 Cent versus King Harris, the feud that broke the internet, started trending, further amplifying the situation. Then there were the reactions from within the hip-hop community. Artists, influencers, and longtime collaborators weighed in, some condemning King Harris for crossing boundaries, others praising his audacity. "You don't touch a man's mother like that," one rapper said on a live stream. "You can troll, you can diss, you can fight in versus, but family? That's sacred." Another added, "If you're gonna go at 50 Cent, you better know what you're doing. This isn't just any rapper. This is a man who's survived gunshots, bankruptcy, betrayals, and still runs the game." The tension was palpable. Everyone was picking sides, and social media became a battleground for loyalty, ethics, and viral content. As the clips continued to circulate, journalists and content creators started pulling up every old moment that involved 50 Cent talking about his mother. Interviews with Larry King, Oprah, Spin Magazine, and VH1 documentaries resurfaced, highlighting the depth of trauma he's carried for decades. "This isn't just trolling," one reporter said. "This is poking a wound that's over 40 years old. It's emotional landmine territory." Even memes began to shift in tone, some mocking King Harris, some expressing sympathy for 50 Cent, some laughing nervously at the audacity of it all. It was a cultural event unfolding in real time, with everyone contributing commentary and the feud gaining momentum that no one could have predicted. In the background, 50 Cent continued his approach. Minimal words, maximum effect. After King's video, he shared another meme, again with the LOL caption, and posted clips of podcasters roasting Tiny and King together. His strategy was clear. Let the chaos build, let the public frenzy unfold, and maintain dominance without losing composure. Every meme, every repost, every laugh sent a subtle message. He controls the narrative, even in the most personal, volatile situations. Meanwhile, King Harris doubled down. More stories, more posts, more visual references to 50 Cent's mother's grave. He wasn't retreating. He was leaning in, escalating the tension, and forcing the world to pay attention. The frenzy reached another level when snippets of T.I.'s diss tracks against 50 Cent leaked online. Ty wasn't holding back, branding 50 as a keyboard warrior, accusing him of snitching, and referencing legal documents and prison connections. Suddenly, the feud wasn't just King versus 50, it was an all-out war involving the next generation, the parents, and the public perception of two hip-hop giants. The commentary online grew even more intense. Fans debated the ethics, the strategy, and the cultural implications. "This is historic," one analyst said. "We're seeing multi-generational hip-hop drama like never before. Children are stepping in, old rivalries are resurfacing, and the internet is watching every move." Social media algorithms did what they do best: amplify. Every post, every meme, every clip from King Harris, 50 Cent, or Ty was shared thousands of times. The feud became a trending topic across Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Clips of 50 Cent reflecting on his mother's death, interviews from decades ago, and even old home footage began circulating, fueling the conversation. Suddenly, personal grief, celebrity trolling, and viral strategy converged into a spectacle that dominated culture for days. Every fan, influencer, and gossip outlet had a stake in the discussion. And the chaos didn't stop. Meanwhile, the speculation about the next move was at a fever pitch. Would 50 Cent respond with words, music, or more memes? Would King Harris continue escalating, or would he retreat under pressure? Would Ty drop another diss track to fuel the fire? Every scenario was debated online. Every move was analyzed, remixed, and turned into content. And through it all, the emotional stakes remained. This wasn't just entertainment. For 50 Cent, this was trauma revisited, an old wound reopened in a public viral forum. And the world was watching. The leaked insider claims, the memes, and the escalating feud have set the stage for the ultimate fallout. Everything is building toward a crescendo: potential legal implications, social media explosions, cultural backlash, and how this feud might redefine boundaries in hip-hop, family, and online celebrity warfare. The stage was set for the ultimate reckoning. What started as a trolling post from 50 Cent had metastasized into a multi-generational, multi-platform spectacle, and the fallout was only just beginning. Fans weren't the only ones watching. Social media analysts, gossip columnists, hip-hop insiders, and even casual observers were glued to every move. Every meme, every story, every Instagram video posted by King Harris, 50 Cent, or T added layers to this drama that no one could ignore. The feud had transcended typical celebrity beef. It had become a cultural event, and a study in generational respect, trauma, and viral escalation. The first ripple in the aftermath was the conversation about boundaries. King Harris had gone nuclear, referencing 50 Cent's late mother, posting grave photos, and forcing an emotional conversation into the public sphere. Critics were quick to call it disrespectful, while others argued it was a strategic power move. "This is psychological warfare," one social media commentator said. "King Harris knows exactly what he's doing. He's attacking the emotional core of 50 Cent's story. That's not just trolling. That's genius in a terrifying way." On forums and in comment sections, the debates raged. Is this crossing the line? Or is this the new playbook for handling a troll like 50 Cent? And even among 50's fans, have opinions split. Some saying the meme responses were classic masterstroke. Others arguing that even 50 Cent couldn't escape the emotional sting of his mother being referenced so publicly. Leaked sources continued to fuel speculation, some claiming inside knowledge of the family dynamics. "This feud isn't just about online clout," one insider claimed. "It's about power, influence, and proving dominance. King Harris isn't just defending his mom, He's sending a message to every kid watching that boundaries exist, even with someone like 50 Cent. And 50? He's stunned, even if he won't show it publicly. Others claim that T was actively coaching King, feeding him information, and encouraging him to escalate strategically. Of course, none of this could be confirmed. But it didn't stop fans from spinning wild theories and creating reaction videos that racked up millions of views. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's response strategy remained classic: minimal words, maximum effect. Every LOL post, every Pepe the Frog meme, every video clip shared from third-party podcasters was calculated to maintain dominance while letting the chaos unfold. Fans and analysts debated whether this approach was genius or cold-hearted. Some said 50 Cent was proving that he couldn't be rattled. Others argued that while the memes seemed harmless, the emotional toll of this feud hit far deeper than anyone online could measure. Clips from his interviews about his mother, his childhood trauma, and his reflections on loss began trending alongside King's posts. For viewers, but the contrast was stark. Here's a man who built his life on being untouchable, confronted publicly with the one thing he's never fully processed. Legal implications also entered the conversation. Speculation about potential threats, harassment, or defamation surfaced almost immediately. Posting someone's mother's grave publicly? That's a line, one armchair lawyer said on Twitter. I wouldn't be surprised if this escalates into legal action. Courts might not like that kind of personal attack, no matter who you are. Some even theorized that social media platforms could step in, temporarily suspending accounts or issuing warnings for the content. Whether or not this happened, the narrative of potential consequences added a layer of tension. The fans weren't just watching for jokes or memes anymore. They were watching for fallout that could actually reshape the digital landscape for celebrity beefs. At the same time, the cultural stakes were sky high. This feud was no longer just about 50 Cent, King Harris, or Ty. It had become a case study in generational influence, social media ethics, and the way personal trauma intersects with public persona. Analysts and commentators began to dissect the situation with the intensity usually reserved for political scandals. This is a moment that defines how online beefs might evolve in the next decade, one podcast host said. We're watching the interplay of family, history, emotion, and digital theater. And the fact that it involves a man like 50 Cent, whose life story is already so public and layered, only makes it more compelling. Even pop culture outlets couldn't resist. Late-night segments, hip-hop magazines, and YouTube reaction channels dissected every frame, every comment, every meme. Headlines like 50 Cent versus King Harris, the feud that broke the internet, and the most emotional hip-hop beef in decades became standard, amplifying the feud further. Some articles focused on King Harris as a rising force in hip-hop, noting that this feud had instantly elevated his public profile. Others emphasized 50 Cent's legacy and his ability to weather personal attacks with his trademark humor and calculated trolling. Across platforms, one thing was clear: nobody was looking away. Then came the hypothetical scenarios that fans loved. What if King Harris doubled down with another visual post? What if 50 Cent responded not with memes but with music? Could Ty's diss tracks provoke an all-out musical war? What if the legal system got involved? Every possibility was speculated, debated, and theorized online. Fans created elaborate timelines, plotted potential next moves, and even predicted social media analytics spikes based on posts from either side. The level of engagement was astronomical. No matter how absurd some of the speculations were, they contributed to a feedback loop that kept the feud alive in public consciousness. Behind the scenes, the emotional layer remained profound. For 50 Cent, the feud wasn't about losing clout, getting embarrassed, or being trolled. It was about revisiting the trauma of losing his mother at 8 years old and facing it in the most public way imaginable. King Harris, and whether intentionally or not, tapped into a wound that even the most seasoned troll couldn't armor fully. The juxtaposition of public spectacle and private grief made the situation uniquely compelling, and the audience knew it. Clips of 50 Cent crying on talk shows, reflecting on his mother, and discussing his childhood became cultural touchstones within the context of this feud. It was a reminder that even the toughest personas have vulnerabilities, and when those vulnerabilities are exposed, the public pays attention and remembers. As the dust continued to settle, some analysts began drawing parallels to past hip-hop feuds, but with a twist. This wasn't just rap battles, diss tracks, or social media trolling. This was a hybrid of generational confrontation, emotional exposure, and viral content strategy. Parents and children were now both players in the feud. Social media served as the arena, memes as weapons, and public opinion as the ultimate judge. It was raw, dramatic, and unprecedented in its scale. The stage was fully set for whatever came next. Would 50 Cent finally break character and respond in a more emotional, vulnerable way? Would King Harris escalate further, leaning into the viral momentum? Could Ty leverage the situation musically to assert dominance? Or would the internet simply continue to watch, dissect, and amplify every moment? Every fan, influencer, and media outlet had a theory, a favorite side, or a burning question. And that, of course, ensured that the story would not die down anytime soon. Ultimately, this feud underscored something deeper: the way personal history, family ties, and public persona collide in the digital age. It reminded fans that behind every meme, every troll, and every viral clip, there are real people with real emotions. And when those emotions touch trauma, like the loss of a parent, a childhood wound, or a family legacy, the results are explosive. King Harris may have started this digital confrontation, 50 Cent may have responded in his trademark style, but the audience? They were witnesses to history in real time. The consequences, both cultural and personal, were just beginning to unfold. The internet remained suspended in anticipation. Legal drama, emotional exposure, and social media chaos are all potential next chapters. Fans, creators, and hip-hop enthusiasts are waiting to see what comes next. And everyone knows it's only going to get bigger, louder, and more unforgettable. But so now the question is, what happens next? Will 50 Cent finally break character, show the world that even the toughest troll has a breaking point? Or will King Harris keep pushing, proving that in the age of social media, no one is untouchable? Are we witnessing the future of celebrity beefs, where kids, families, and legacies collide in real time for the world to dissect? And let's be honest, who really knows where this ends? One meme, one clip, one post could spark the next explosion. This isn't just entertainment. It's a cultural event, a masterclass in how personal trauma meets public spectacle. And yes, a reminder that in hip-hop, respect isn't just earned, it's defended. Sometimes brutally. So, what side are you on? Team 50 Cent, King Harris, or just here for the chaos? Comment below because your opinion matters. And trust me, people are reading. And if you want more of this, more behind-the-scenes drama, more deep dives into the hottest, juiciest feuds, and the stories nobody else is brave enough to touch, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Don't blink, because in the world of hip-hop feuds, the next shock is always just a post away.